In this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the future of virtual ensemble videos. I just got back home from the first Pandemonium Big Band live in-person rehearsal, and it was amazing. But that begs the question, what is the future for me and for everyone with virtual ensemble performances? They've been coming out a lot during the pandemic, and I wanted to give my thoughts on the future of this art form. But before I do, let me encourage you to hit subscribe, smash that like button, and check out my Patreon. A lot of people are giving their support to help me continue making videos like this. You should too. That's stupid. When I'm talking about virtual performances, I'm talking about those Brady Bunch looking videos with each person recording their part from their own home, and it's performed together like some sort of, Zoom performance. We know that a Zoom performance would be impossible because of bandwidth, science. Now, those kind of performances have been created long before the pandemic by artists like Jacob Collier and Accent Vocal and Pentatonics, and some of these groups have been doing virtual performances for a long time. But during the pandemic, when people literally couldn't get in the same room and play music together, it became very popular for ensembles to record in their own homes and stitch it together into a performance. My ensemble, Pandemonium Big Band, has produced 11 of these performances. In fact, we have a 12th one that should be coming out very soon. But that said, the future isn't entirely bright. So I produced a handful of virtual performances for school ensembles. And I think that once the schools are back in person entirely, that creating virtual performances will be done. They're a lot of work to put together, and there's literally no advantage for a school ensemble. The last school ensemble I played in, the Cal State Long Beach Concert Jazz Orchestra, rehearsed 3 times a week, and we did several concerts per semester. So if you wanted to make a video of the Concert Jazz Orchestra performing a piece, it's so much easier to take a camera and some stereo mics and pop them in front of the band, and you get a video of a performance in the length it takes to play that performance. Whereas these virtual performances take me a month to put together, to collect all the performances from each player and to stitch them together and then have it mixed and have it mastered and to edit the video. It takes forever. I think that for schools it will be done. No one will make them again when they don't have to. But there are some distinct advantages to doing virtual performances for professional musicians. The first thing that I want to point out, during the pandemic, every professional musician that I know became proficient at recording themselves. So for non-instrumentalists, you might think that this would be second nature, that instrumentalists would be used to recording themselves because the technology has been available to do it inexpensively, high quality in their own home for a long time. But I will tell you that it is a skill, and it took practice and learning, and there were some times when I literally destroyed entire takes by not setting up my microphone gain properly, or not turning on phantom power for a condenser mic, or leaving phantom power on for a non-condenser mic. The first time I sent a track to somebody else, I had to redo it because there were lots and lots of instances of peaking. But now, 18 months later, however long it's been, I'm an expert. Every time I record myself on the computer, I know how to do splices so you'll never hear it, and I never peak anymore, and my signal to noise is about optimal. Everything sounds wonderful because I've learned how to do it. And every musician that I know, every instrumentalist that I know has learned how to do it this last year too. Also, the virtual performances can sound fantastic. I feel like the virtual performances that I've produced with Pandemonium Big Band during the pandemic are some of the best music sonically that I've ever produced. I would put the cassowary up against anything. And that was their first go at it. Much less 2-for-1 or Sleigh Ride or some of these other things that I've produced later on in the pandemic. They sound every bit as good, almost as good as recording at a place like Capitol. Another really important reason is scheduling. So normally, like this rehearsal that I had today with my band, I was missing 5 or 6 of the members and instead had substitute players that were fantastic, but they're different players than are going to be on our concert. August 4th. And so it's not ideal, right? And so when I do a virtual performance, everybody gets to set their own schedule. So I'll send out an email and say, I need this piece recorded in 2 weeks. And then it's up to everyone to find an hour or two, however long it takes them to track that piece, at some point in the next 2 weeks. As opposed to a regular recording session where I tell them, a date and a time, and they tell me whether or not they're available at that date and time. For scheduling reasons, it's much easier to do virtual. Also, it's much less expensive to do virtual. That's the most important reason, probably. Recording, a 3-hour session at a place like Capitol is going to cost $2,000, $2,500. I don't know. It's a lot of money. It's significant. So even if you're paying the musicians to do your virtual performance, you're still saving all that money on the studio, which oftentimes for low budget productions like Pandemonium Big Band is a huge percentage of the production cost. For those reasons, I am planning on continuing creating virtual performance videos for a long time. The last reason, by the way, is the video has become just as important as the audio for a music release. For me, the ideal situation is a multicam live performance studio thing where we set up in Capitol and it sounds fantastic and there's like 5 or 6 cameras all over the place and we can cut it together. But for the reasons that I talked about before, that's not always practical. So for me, doing virtual Zoom-style performances is going to be a reality going forward that I very much look forward to, and I'm glad that I was forced to learn how to do it. Let me know what you think. By the way, if you're not sure whether they sound as good as studio recordings, check out this video right here. It's gonna be right here. It's probably right there right now. Check it out. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.